Hello to my Capricorns. All right, Capricorns, let's get right into your reading. This reading is for the 7th through the 14th of February. That's right, February. So we're going to get into it. We're getting closer and closer to this full moon, Capricorn. So protect your energy. We're in first quarter moon phase, even though it's a gibbous moon. Right, so if you have a moon calendar, it's going to say it's a gibbous moon, but actually we're in the first quarter moon phase. Okay, so let's get into it. First quarter moon phases are all about putting action behind your intentions. This full moon that we're going to have is going to be a full moon in Leo, and so when the moon is in Leo, you allow your vulnerability to be your strength. Right. In other words, not lying to yourself. You're saying, you are vulnerable in certain areas, and you found that out from like the last 8 years. Last year was the year 8. 2024 was the year 8, and some things were uncovered, about you that you learned about yourself. Meaning, what was concealed about you has now been revealed. Meaning, you now know what your moon sign is, a lot of you all. You know what your rising Venus, you've pulled your birth chart. You know where your north node is. If you don't, pull your birth chart. Find out what your 10th house is. A lot of people have found that they were in the wrong jobs, wrong career, wrong everything. Because, again, you're just learning a lot of things, right? You're learning a lot of things for whatever reason you're learning. You're just now learning a lot of things you're discovering about yourselves. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. No reason to harshly judge yourselves. A lot of people are starting to feel comfortable in their spirituality, and you are no different. So please do not harshly judge yourselves. If anything, you want to actually celebrate it. Yes, you want to celebrate. It doesn't matter when you found out what your moon sign is. Doesn't matter what you found out, how to nurture yourself. Doesn't matter. As long as you know. Now you know how to pour into yourself. So, yeah, start packing. Your new dream home is loading. Start packing. Your new dream home is loading. Talking to you wherever Capricorn is in your birth chart, even if you're on the cusp. Your new dream home is loading. Boom, boom, boom. Right? So dream home, first of all, starts within. Right, your physical body is your home, right? That's your physical body where your spirit is housed, right? So somebody's going to start through the visualization process. I'm going to also kind of walk you all through some psychic abilities and what that means. And a lot of them have different names, and so you may know them as different names. You may have heard them being used a different way and did not even know that you had psychic abilities. Everybody has psychic abilities, right? That's your intuition. All right, let's get into it. Let's get right into it. Talking to you ever. Capricorn is in your birth chart. This is a general reading, so take only what resonates with you. If you're interested in a personal reading, my information is down below in the description. All right, Capricorn, let's do it. Let's see what your number is. It's the angel number. Remember, there's signs all around you. They can be on your receipt. You saw something for $5.99. There it is again, right? $5.99. So be steadfast. Fortify your mindset. Your angels are asking you to reconsider a belief you currently have. The present situation is calling you to change your mind about something in order to align it with who you authentically are. Being steadfast and secure in your own intuitive wisdom is necessary now. So write down what is important to your soul at this time and reflect on how you can stay true to that in the days to come. Even as you may shift your beliefs to harmonize with what you hold true within, right? So there's 599, right? So this connects us with the color orange, which connects us to feelings, right? Your feelings about something, right? So somebody's been feeling like they're about to make a move, whether it's to a new job, a new home, a new geographical location. Source has been saying start packing your new dream home is loading. So which means that what would you do? Let's try to make it as logical as possible. If you knew that you were packing, right, getting ready to move, right, what would you do? You do the same thing energetically. You would start to clean out space. You start to get rid of stuff that you knew you weren't taking with you because you're trying to travel light, right? So energetically, that would be fear, doubt, uncertainty. If you were, let's say, needed closure from past relationships, you would just go ahead and close it out. You wouldn't even wait. You would just close it out. You'd be like, okay, I'm not taking certain things with me to my new place. I'm just going to go ahead and close it. I'm not waiting for a phone call, text message, email, confirmation. I can get it from source. I can get it directly from source. So let's get into it. Yeah, you have some kind of feelings about something. So you got a feeling. Yeah, and you're right. Now, once you say, okay, I got a feeling about something, think about your emotions. You're going to source to ask for physical evidence of something. Okay? You're not, like spinning your wheels stressed out. I don't see it. I don't care. I don't know how I'm gonna get the money. I don't know why. I'm not really sure where it's gonna come from. I've been applying for jobs and nothing has come through. This is real faith walk. This is for real faith. For real. So now you're saying, okay, you know what? You're packing in faith in a spiritual sense first, right? You're sitting down somewhere visualizing some things. So let's get into it. Let's go. Here's the Empress card, right? So your abundance and your prosperity is growing. Your abundance and your prosperity is growing, right? Right? Expansion. See how this person has one foot firmly planted, and this foot right here, you're about to take a leap of faith. 3 looks like lips, right? So all of this is expansion. So something is like fire shut up in you. Like you're saying, I can do this. I can speak expansion into existence. That's going to change everything for you all, Capricorn. It's going to change the hertz of music that you listen to on social media. They're going on YouTube. You're going to stop talking lack talking. I don't see this. And last time I was let down you're not talking confusion talk anymore. No more. That's the past. That's the you in the past talking confusion talk. Right? Where did that get you? People talking about you behind your back, talking about your family behind your back, talking about, saying that everybody was lying, all of this other stuff, right? So source is saying to you, you get ready to start, you preparing for expansion, right? What I say? Somebody is tired of being bullied. Somebody is tired of being bullied, right? Somebody's tired of being stubborn. Somebody's tired of being bullied. This right here, this is fire here. You're learning how to adapt. You're learning how to adapt. Somebody's really starting to put together a list of what you feel grateful for, counting your blessings. That is the list you're going to read off every single day. You're grateful for this. Because again, you're learning how to speak increase and expansion into your life. Everything that you watch moving forward is going to be about, okay, I got a feeling something. I can feel it right here in my solar plexus chakra, right up under your breastplate. I can do this. Your confidence level is increasing. This is the 10 of Wands right here. So, right? So when we talk about your 10th house, we're talking about achievements, right? Career, reputation. I can do this. So source is saying, when you talk about like taking baby steps, like you talk about like, for instance, we talk about the number 3. Let's talk about the 3rd house, right? That's communication. That's learning. Okay, I've learned that when I didn't listen to my intuition, and I had a feeling about something. I didn't listen to my intuition. That's right here. This is the I feel. I had a feeling about something, and I didn't listen to my intuition. Right? I was bullied. Right? People bullied me. They said I was lying about something. They said this, they said that, they said such and such. This time you're going to start really believing in your intuition. You're going to start listening to your intuition about something, right? Somebody, so when we talk about, let me lay a couple of more cards out here, because somebody is now learning how to travel light. You may say 3 strikes, something is out, right? You're moving on. And Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius could be responsible for somebody being on the low end of fire. Maybe somebody said you were lying, or you were a narcissist, or you had low self-esteem. Somebody is learning how to move on and not just sit there stuck until you wait until you're bullied and then, people are making you feel responsible for something. Well, you did well. If it wasn't for you, you're learning how to move on. You're learning how to move on, right? And being steadfast. There you go. You and somebody are back in the saddle again. Somebody's learning how to move on. So never again is somebody going to go back to chaos and confusion in your mind. Again, you're moving forward. Somebody's starting to pack for your new dream home is loading because your abundance and your prosperity is growing. Your confidence level is increasing as we get closer and closer to this full moon in Leo. Leo is a fire sign. We're not talking about any Leos that you know, whether you like them or not. That's not the point. We're talking about a moon in Leo, like we had a moon in Cancer in the last full moon. Some things about you were uncovered. Somebody is gifted. You're highly intuitive, and that was a gift that was passed down to you. And you'll know for you is when your anxiety level starts to increase. You start getting super nervous. Your anxiety it's almost like somebody drank a gallon of caffeinated coffee, the really strong the really strong coffee, right? You're gonna start listening to your intuition instead of waiting for you to be blindsided. Your ancestors are talking to you. They've been talking to you, right? Instead of everybody else in your ear about stuff. This person is lying. They lied about this. They lied about that. They responsible for this. They responsible for you being bullied. It's their fault. All of this is going out of the window. You are going to start listening to your own intuition, right? Yeah. Because something runs real deep in terms of people competing when it comes to money. Yeah, it runs real deep. I'm talking about generationally deep. So some people don't blame you for their money going lower, right? Because they're saying, okay, their roots run deep, which you could not see at first. And then up here, it didn't take much, right? That's when you know somebody's roots run deep when it comes to something, right? Because it doesn't take them that much. It doesn't take much for them to go off. So it's something else. You're like, okay, this person had to be mad at something else. It's just a little something and they just snapped. Okay, it's something else is going on. That's exactly what this card is right here. Something has been festering for a long time underneath their soil, like in their spirit, that you could not see. Something has been festering for a long time. And so now you're just now seeing it because it didn't take much. It didn't take much. So let's see what else we got. So yeah, you and somebody are now seeing something. You and somebody are seeing how deep something runs when it comes to money. Some people had some deep-seated issues when it came to money. As soon as you start talking about somebody else had money, expansion, all of that, anybody starts talking about money, expansion, their money is growing, they're moving, they're this and that, they're getting back in center stage, they're, back in the limelight again. It shows you just how deep the jealousy, the envy, the feelings about something, right? So source is saying to you, you are a leader. You've always been a leader. Something put a fire up under you. You and somebody are back at the center stage. Some people don't really trip when it comes over money. They really don't. They just like, you know what? Because they're not speaking lack into existence. They just move on. And the energy of money is just continuing to circulate for them because they're not speaking lack. They're not stuck in that, oh, I just got something and something just came and just took and messed up my source is saying you're learning how to, one strike sometimes it's going to be out, two strikes sometimes it's going to be out, three strikes is sometimes it's going to be out, but nevertheless you got one foot in front of the other. And this is genderless, by the way. All of these are genderless, right? So yeah, you and somebody are back in the saddle again. Yeah. Because you're cutting ties with some energy. Because your third eye is now so people are going to be wondering why you're cutting them off. Because your ancestors have been talking to you. These right here, your ancestors. But somehow, because you're an earth sign, you're kind of trained to the physical, like to see the physical. All of these people in your ear telling you that somebody's lying. You and somebody lying about this, bullying, this and that. So it's just saying, you know what? If you haven't had a chance to process your emotions about a situation and you haven't gained clarity, somebody's a prayer warrior. It keeps coming out in your reading. Somebody is a prayer and you haven't gained clarity and people are rushing you to process your thoughts. I don't even like to sound redundant. Y'all got too many good things coming ahead. You're back in the saddle again. You're going to start believing in your intuition. Again, you're going to start believing in your dreams again. Somebody is back in the center stage again. You and somebody are back in center stage again. Yeah. You've moved on from disappointments. You're not even talking about disappointments anymore. Your whole mindset has changed. Somebody's on a totally different frequency at this point. You're not looking at, well, I wish they had called me back and closed out the cycle. For what? Move on. You close out the cycle. That's giving somebody control. That's like you just having a title in a relationship, but you have no authority if you wait for somebody else to close out the cycle. You are a leader. Close out the cycle. Yeah. There were two people that was clapping and cheering that they saw they created some kind of chaos and confusion. But guess what? You and somebody are back in the saddle again. You're moving on from that. They like to talk about people, whoever these energies are, they like to talk about people behind their back. They like to, create all kinds of chaos and confusion and then try to flip it and make people feel like they're responsible. This could be a male and a female. This could be two females. This could be two males, whatever. But you and somebody are motivated by clarity. Y'all are motivated by clarity. Y'all ain't even talking about disappointments. You moved on. Your vibration so high, it's not even funny. Take the blindfolds off. You're successful. That's how somebody learned about their gifts. Your gifts. That's how you learned about your gifts. And yes, you can do this. When we talk about fire, y'all going to learn that some people are motivated by the opposite of what you're motivated by. When we're talking about fire, fire speaks to your basic need is significance. Somebody felt like they felt insignificant, period. That had nothing to do with you. So whoever you saw as significance in your life, they automatically went right into competition mode. It could have been a puppet. It could have been a ventriloquist doll, and I'm not even kidding, that's sitting in the corner, a wooden ventriloquist doll where you got to put your hand in the back and the lips move up and down. It could have been anything that they saw was more significant than them. Doesn't matter who it is. That doll would have been thrown into a fireplace. For real, since we're talking about fire, it would have been thrown into a fireplace because guess what? It was taking up more space and time than, like you can't even make a decision about people feel who's significant in your life. So yeah, Source is saying these two energies, they thrive off of creating chaos and confusion and causing division between you and whoever is significant, between you significant. And now you're starting to see, because the positive qualities for fire, solar plexus chakra, is power, confidence, charisma, strong will, motivation, leadership, mental clarity. They offer the complete and total opposite. Cause you digestive issues. You couldn't even process your food when you were eating, right? Cause you to feel like you had low self-esteem, chronic fatigue, timid. You felt timid sometimes, felt maybe enraged other times, just all over the place because of these two energies. They like creating division because that generationally has been passed down. That is something that they inherited. And like I said, yeah. So sources, those are karmics. That is what a karmic relationship is. They're on the dark side of the number 8. They have succumbed. One succumbed to passive and powerless behavior, and the other one is egotistical, materialistic, and forceful. The end. There you go. Something had to bring you into focus, though. Something had to bring you into focus because they were on both sides in your ear, right? You had to learn how to save yourself, just like everybody else has to learn how to save themselves. That's free will. Somebody could tell you 999 times that these energies are karmic relationships for you. That's a karmic job. That's a karmic friendship. That's a karmic romantic relationship. But until you walk through the fire yourself, you are not going to see it. Why would you beat yourself up? Why? Why would you even torture yourself? You learn how to save yourself. Yeah. So I could say on my channel 1,000 times, listen to water sounds, drink your water, find out what your moon sign is, pour into yourself. Go to Google, type in how to nurture your moon sign according to whatever your gender is. It's not going to hit until you go through the fire and you say, oh my God, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then you break the karmic cycle, toss all that mess into the confusion, the fear, the embarrassment, the shame, all that tied to these karmics into a burning bowl and put one foot in front of the other and be out. That's when it's going to hit. And then they'll be sitting there, well, why? Well, I don't understand. Because some of y'all may have been so patient. This is the bull energy. Some of you all may have Taurus somewhere in your birth chart. Taurians are incredibly patient at their highest frequency. Right? They are, because it's a bull, right? Something had to almost put a blowtorch under somebody's hooves until you felt like you were a bull in a china closet and just took off before somebody really, really got it. Whatever works. But from now on, somebody's going to learn how to calm their anxiety down by pouring into themselves. And stop waiting to see every sign source gave you. 599, the sun shining, people telling you that somebody's lying behind your back, somebody that you love and connected to is a liar. I mean, like, what else? So something was trying to find out what your demons were. So you got some good news coming across your path, right? Yeah, good news is that people still love you. You just had to find out something on your own. You just had to find, that's the good news. People still love you. You just had to find out something. People who genuinely love you regardless. They're not going to put you through all of that. And this, so source is speeding up something for you. Or you just toss it into a burning bowl. Somebody was just in a very poisonous environment. That's it. Drinking, lots of sex going around, lots of this, lots of that. Confusion, chaos. You didn't even have a chance to think clearly. I don't know. Somebody could work for a hotel. Wherever you work, whatever the environment is. But somebody could have been in an environment where you just felt like everything was just so fast paced, you didn't even get a chance to even process what you were thinking. Okay, the light is shining on it now. Go where you, this whole full moon that we have coming up on the on the 12th. Really, your vulnerability is your strength, right? You were confused. Okay. People were trying to find out what your demons were. They were trying to press buttons to see if they can get you, a temper to show up. Get you to cuss somebody out, go off. Oh, this person is a liar. This person is this and that, so on and so forth. Kept bullying, pushing until you finally said, okay, I need to put one foot in front of the other. You don't need to get mad. Somebody calls you a liar, they don't halfway believe you for something, that should be the first and last time. If you know you're telling the truth about something, that should be the first and the last time. From now on, somebody says that you're lying and you got to prove every little thing, like everything. You know what? I got to go. Instead of being used as a pawn in a game, playing mind games, being used. Go argue with them. Go find out. Too much going on. Anyway, 3, 8. Go say something disrespectful to somebody. See how they respond. I'm gonna show you they got a temper. Sent that spell work right back, because anybody who knows about spell work, and y'all are gonna learn is anybody who knows about spell work. I talk about this you're gonna stop arguing with people. You're gonna stop arguing with people. That is a karmic. That's throwing yourself into a karmic cycle. You're going to stop arguing with people. You're going to take those blindfolds off. Right? You're definitely not going back to something that didn't produce a whole lot of results for you. It's time to get into prayer warrior mode. I don't care what your situation is at work or wherever situation you're in right now, time to get into prayer warrior mode. You got a lot of familiar spirits around you. They're familiar with this and familiar with that. I'm going to say this about familiar spirits one more time. They are dangerous. Because they don't ever know the full depth of anything. They're just familiar with this and familiar with that. So you need to become a subject matter expert on self. Stop going back into situations that cause chaos, confusion, and just And people just thought they clapping and cheering because you sitting somewhere just confused. Nope, no more confusion. You're going straight to source, bypassing the confusion, going straight to source for clarity. Source, I need clarity. Give me some dates, some times, give me the numbers, whatever I need to know. How long is it going to take for me to start packing this stuff up so I can start moving on? Get away from these familiar spirits. Yeah, here we go. This pastor said on and he be giving some real good sermons. Ooh, child, he be giving some guy. I ain't gonna drop no names, but his sermons are really good. But he was talking about, well, it was two. Okay, one said one thing, and then another pastor I was talking about. It's a lot. It's a lot of good people online. Anyway, but this one person was talking about how a relative of his said, and this is an example of a familiar spirit, right? So, but this is one example of a familiar spirit. But he was saying that somebody in his family said that because like diabetes or something ran in their family. Y'all know how people were saying, oh, well, this kind of stuff, they runs in our family. And the person was saying, well, that's not me. He just sent it right back. He basically sent that spell. That's a spell. You're telling somebody a lie about themselves. If there is nothing you can't do anything to prevent it. You can't eat better. See this book right here? The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, the healing power of plant medicine. I mean, like, your diet has a whole lot to do with that too, right? But that's how it happens. The people, they become familiar with something, and all of a sudden it becomes it's their way or the highway. And it runs real deep for some people. And as soon as they hear money, they start ganging up on energy. Source is saying you're learning now not to beat yourselves up. You're learning how to pour into yourself. And for some of y'all could work at a hospital, because I'm seeing this building right here, could work at a hospital. The roots run deep for some people. It runs deep for some people, right? If they feel like somebody is lying to them about something, they go right on attack. Not even giving anybody any chance to even find out anything. They go straight on attack. So Source is saying you're learning how to listen to your gut. You're learning how to listen to your intuition. You're learning how to listen to your intuition, right? You're having a tower moment. But this is a good tower moment. I guess I gotta clarify when we're talking about tower moments. I saw some of y'all comments like, "Oh, we can't take another." You're speaking for yourself. When somebody says "we," as somebody was saying collectively, Capricorns can't take another tower moment. They were speaking for themselves. You were not speaking for all of Capricorn, because every Capricorn is not going through a tower moment where the tower is falling on them. The tower is now falling on other people, right? It's falling backwards on other people because you're moving on from somebody who jumped to some conclusions about something, and decided it was their way or the highway, and brought all these people on board. Something took off like a match and it didn't produce a whole lot of results. Now it's time for you to use that your fire within to thrive. Somebody automatically thought somebody was going to be behind closed doors, laying down, 10 swords stabbed in their back, bleeding out, depressed. Nothing was. So it's just like that too was a lie. Move on. Somebody, that's what you and somebody have in common. That's what you and somebody have in common. Yeah. So something has been fulfilled. Something in you has been fulfilled, and that something, just in case somebody says, well, I still don't get it. I'm still confused. I still don't understand. One, I see you moving. Okay, I see you moving, right? You're back in the saddle again, right? I'd say something is going to feel like home for you. Like I said, I see your abundance and prosperity growing. I see your money growing. You're thinking about legacy. You're thinking now your whole thought, you're motivated by something different now. You're thinking about protecting your legacy. You're thinking now about protecting your legacy versus I just want to be a part of something and I'm going to join a circus. So now somebody's whole mindset is totally different. You're not going to fall for I'm telling you, this right here, you are not going to fall for the bait and switch anymore. You are so tapped in at this moment. At this point, you're in a very vulnerable state, right? There are going to be a lot of traps that's set where people are like, okay, let me see if I say this, they're going to fall for this. You're not going to even give it any air. None whatsoever. People trying to start an argument with you. I don't care if they cut you off while you're driving down the street. You're going to wish them the best. You're not falling for that bait and switch anymore. Somebody try to, say that you lying about something. You're going to say, okay, if that's what you believe, and move on. You came to another level of clarity. That's right. See this owl right here, this cute little owl face? Yeah, you're in thrive mode. That's what you have in common with people. It just brought you to a new level of intellect and wisdom. Age does not equate to wisdom. It does not equate to wisdom. Right? Something was done by 3 people behind your back without your knowledge, and you're cutting them off. The end. Your intuition, now that you're moving on, like a lot of other people who move on from karmic relationships, who feel like they're isolated, your intuition is like your spidey senses have grown now. Now your intuition is now wide awake, right? It's wide awake now. So your telepathic gifts, just so we're crystal clear, telepathy, the transference of thoughts, feelings, or ideas between 2 or more individuals via the psychic sense is now increased, right? So there's 3 types of telepathy. There's intuitive telepathy. That's the transference of information about the past, future, or present state of an individual's mind through PSI to another individual. Another one is emotive telepathy, also known as emotional transfer, is the process of transferring sensations and feelings through altered states of consciousness. And then you have superconscious telepathy, that's involved in tapping into the cosmic consciousness to access the creative pool of wisdom. Some other psychic gifts is psychokinesis, right? Right. Some people believe that they have the power to move, influence inanimate objects. This is known as psychokinesis. You may see that on social media. They have a lot of TikTok videos on people, being able to move those things. Some other psychic gifts, or you may have hunches. You know what I'm saying? Like when people say, I had a hunch that something was going to happen or whatever. Or you synchronicities, right? You may see numbers. You may see this number a couple of times on a receipt when you buy food or go to the gas station or whatever. You may see a decimal point here, $5.99, right? Or you may see $59.90, right? But whatever it is, sources saying you'll start seeing things just reappear. You may have all the clairvoyance, right? That's seeing clearly, having this clear awareness, right? Clairaudience. You may hear things. You may feel like you're just hearing things, but you're going to train yourself to start journaling because you're like, okay, I know I'm not hearing voices. Don't want to start telling people I'm hearing voices, right? So show me the physical evidence of something. Thank you for showing me the physical evidence of something, right? Clairsentience, that's vibrational energy. You picking up on people's vibes, right? You feeling some kind of a vibe. You feeling like somebody's trying to put you in a survival mode situation, right? You don't have to be security. You don't have to work some kind of security detailed for that. If you're in a place where you feel like, okay, something is telling you, to be more alert, that something is sourced from within, right? And then claircognizance, that's picking up on psychic knowledge about other people, right? That's another skill. Then deja vu, that's remembering the future. That's something you feel like you've already seen something already. Then you got premonition. That's derived from the Latin word meaning forewarning. So premonitions are emotional reactions or feelings that something is going to happen, but the individual doesn't know what. They can't really put a name to it, right? You got a feeling that something is going to happen, right? And it can come through a dream state. You got a feeling about something, right? So precognition, that's, derived from foreknowledge. That's experience of direct knowledge of the future, occurring mostly in dreams, but also in visions or thoughts. It can also be induced through divinational trances or altered states of consciousness. So there's a lot of different sixth sense is another one. Your sixth sense could have been telling you. What's the name of the movie with, it was a movie with Bruce. It was called The Sixth Sense. That was the name of the movie. It was called The Sixth. It's called The Sixth Sense, child. But anyway, That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to you all. Just saying to you all. It's just a lot of different, but a lot of people will call them by different names depending on what environment that you're in. They'll call them by different names, but you all are definitely prayer warriors. And people jump to conclusions about prayer warriors all the time, but you have to go through the fire in order to recognize, okay, which one is your gifts? Like you had a feeling about this, you had a thought, you had a dream, download, whatever about it. People always going to think you're lying because it's taking time for you to process and get real clear as to what is happening around you. There is no reason to beat yourself up or even to feel like you were a fool. People who genuinely love you, they love you regardless. They've been wanting to see you thrive. But you had to go through something to recognize your gifts. So now you're starting to see yourself in a leadership position. Now, even when you go for an interview, because I see somebody's money growing, now when you go for an interview, you're going to make sure that you don't have just a title. You are getting real specific, and this is where your confidence level comes in, right? Your confidence level comes in. You're asking for what type of authority do you have in this position? What type of authority do you have in this position? You're not looking for just a title and a paycheck and you have no authority. So that's what you're doing, because you don't want something to be done behind your back without your knowledge, right? You don't want confusion. You want to be real clear. What is it? Steps 1 through 10 for you all. Well, 1 through 20, whatever. You are going to initiate the conversation. I need clarity. I need clarity about something. I need clarity about something, right? Because you will not have a problem cutting somebody off. You need clarity. You're not getting into an argument, nothing. Because some people are obsessed, right? And it's generational. Some people are obsessed with stunting people's growth. You're going through a metamorphosis. This connects us with, some people are obsessed with just being like, criticizing every little thing that somebody says or does. They're critical, judgmental, fussy, overthinking everything, slow to move, questioning every little thing. So it's just saying they'll do that to you, but the moment you start doing that to them, all of a sudden, you're the problem. They won't have a problem cutting you off. So Source is saying to you, it's time for you to start packing for your new dream home. It's loading. I see victory. 5 and 6 is 11. So it's saying get your spirit off the fence. Start thanking Source right now. Start thanking Source right now. Right? That's right. Start thanking Source right now. Somebody could have been at a crossroad about something. You could have been feeling like you were at a crossroad about something. Always go high. Always go high, right? So you've invested a lot of time in something. And so Source is saying to you, you're awakening from a nightmare. Yep, you're waking up from a nightmare too. Yeah, you're waking up from a nightmare. You and somebody are waking up from a nightmare. You don't even need to ask why anymore. For real, you don't even need to ask why anymore. You don't need to ask why anymore. Right? You're just grateful that something is now behind you. Something is behind you and somebody that you were looking for somebody to save you. You were in a karmic cycle. You and somebody were in a karmic cycle. Let me see. Yeah, so your wishes are being fulfilled, right? But it's time to toss some things into a brain ball. Yeah. So you can see the physical evidence of you getting your keys to something. You and somebody were in a karmic cycle. So, yeah. Feeling like you were being pulled in 2 different directions. Didn't know what to believe. Didn't know who to believe. Didn't know what was going on. Just straight up confused. Didn't know what team you were on. 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're moving towards financial independence. Moving towards financial independence. And a lot of your wishes being fulfilled. Right? Again, psychic abilities. You have psychic gifts. Psychic gifts. Somebody also want to find out what their north node is too. Pull your birth chart. You do not need your time of birth, but you want to find out what your north node is. 10th house, north node. Find out what your north node is. Then go to Google and type in how to, like, what's the perfect jobs for my MC. This MC medium coli. That's your north node. What's the perfect jobs for this? Right? So that you don't feel like you're pulled in two different directions when you're asking source for clarity, the type of energies you want to be around. Yeah, type of energies that you want to be around. So yeah, type of energies that you want to be around. Because you now know how to save yourself, right? Everybody that's talking about you behind your back is not saying something negative, but that's what you and somebody have in common. That's what you and somebody have in common. Like, you and somebody have in common is having this this spirit of, just like I said before, of people want to be around, like, your warmth. They want to be. They know your heart. You put your energy into working really hard. They know that you and somebody have a really big heart, and so everybody that's talking about you behind your back is not making disparaging comments. Some people talking about you behind your back, saying some really good things, like, oh, they're hardworking. Zodiac sign, they're a team player, they're self-disciplined, self-control, great managers of people, money, and time. They're very creative, they're practical, they're ambitious, right? So that source is saying you're free. You're free. Start speaking some things into existence. Keep your vibrations high. Continue to be positive. Continue to be positive. Anybody that's running around telling everybody somebody lying about this and lying about that, source is saying that's when you go to source through prayer. That's the right action. So let everything that wants to go, go, and everything that wants to come, come. Somebody say they're going to cut you off because you asking them way too many questions, or somebody saying, well, we second thinking a job now because because they didn't have the answers that you needed. Source is saying, hey, look, they could have easily said to you, hey, we need some more time to process. That's a great question. I need some more time to process stuff. But you and somebody were blindsided. And some people just didn't get the results they thought they were going to get. But you're going to start listening to your intuition from now on. You're looking for fairies. Fairies will get you to buy into a fairy tale that will end up being a nightmare for you. And the easiest way to remember this, is, I gave this an example one time before about fairy tales. Like, you listen to fairy tales when you're a kid, like Hansel and Gretel. But read the story now as an adult today. Alice in Wonderland, read the story as an adult today. It's a much deeper meaning to these stories. You're being sold a fairy tale, and so, but you had to, like when people are being told this, oh, you're a prayer warrior, right? People just look at that on the surface. For real, they look at a prayer warrior on the surface. Oh yeah, I'm gonna let me get my prayer group together. Let me go do such and such. Until you really have to be praying, God, please get me away from this job. Please, source, higher power, get me out of this situation. Please, source, whatever. These people are driving me crazy. Please, so somebody is now learning how, to go directly to source. Bypass all that other mess and go directly to the creator. Higher power. I'm confused. Let me go straight to source. If I'm not getting the answers that I need, I'm going straight to source. And I'm going to sit myself down, drink my water, mind my business, pour into myself until source gives me the answers. Because one of the things you do learn, remember the moon moves through zodiac signs, there's always a theme to it. One of the things that you've learned how to do, what you've learned about yourself, like somebody else, is that they don't like being tied to a bunch of chaos, confusion, and drama. So you're going to have to learn how to look at things through an objective lens. Not subjective, objective. Step outside of yourself. You know what? I need to go into hermit mode, and I need to pray and wait for source to give me some answers. I need to be in receiving mode. I'm good enough to do this. That's you going into hermit mode. I'm good enough to wait on source to get some answers for something that I've been praying about. I'm not really sure. I'm confused. I need to go sit myself down and wait for source to give me some answers, not for somebody else to close out the cycle or whatever. More confusion. So that's what I'm seeing here. Somebody is learning that there are some people who get excited about pulling you away from what you feel is nurturing for you. Some people just be getting way too excited over that kind of stuff. They be just I mean, it just tickles them pink. You just sitting there with a grimace look on your face. You sad, you confused, you don't know what's going on. They just sitting there just snickering and laughing. Somebody is learning you're a prayer warrior. That is what I have for you all. You have too many wonderful things coming your way. As soon as source says it's going to come your way. Don't even sit there confused about when. You're starting to do the packing in your spirit first. You're starting to toss some things, just like you would like be packing boxes to like donate things. That would be kind of sort of considered as like burning bowl. You're not physically burning anything, right? That's where you're leading your creativity. Just like you would be packing up boxes and saying, okay, I'm donating some things to, you probably clean them. You would probably wash them, right? Get them clean as if you were, is a gift, right? That you're giving it to somebody else, right? You're getting yourself prepared. You're getting yourselves prepared. And so you're thanking source right now that everything that's being said about you behind your back is not a negative, because it shows the cracks in their foundation, not yours. Yeah, some people lied and said, oh, they said this to them, they're going to be behind closed doors and they're going to be so depressed and so sad, and you're going to have to, who knows how you're going to find somebody behind closed doors. So I said, none of that stuff happened. None of it happened. So you're on the team truth. You're on the team truth where you have authority and, authority and, you have not just a title of being human or sister, brother, son, daughter, father, mom, whatever, but you have the authority to ask questions, and not when you feel like you're being bullied, and it just even sounds like somebody was just under duress. So source is saying you're learning how to leave distractions behind when you feel like, okay, it's just something about a situation doesn't feel right. You're learning to put one foot in front of the other, or get on the phone and call, do whatever you need to do to get out of a situation. But that's what I'm saying for you all. And yeah, people who genuinely love you, they forgave you a long time ago. Like, so move on. So, but it lets you just know how deep something runs for some people. Some people aren't tripping off of that. They just like, okay, whatever, and move on. They forgave you. Whatever the situation is, you forgave them. So it's just saying move on. That's what I have for you. I'll see you all in the next video.